All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're tearing down the official March 2026 numbers from the Orlando Regional Realtor Association. We're going to figure out what is really going on in the housing market as spring kicks into high gear.
Okay, so let's start with the big takeaway from the association's president, Chris Atwell. He talks about a clear uptick in activity that's creating a dynamic and competitive environment. Honestly, those words really set the tone for everything we're about to see in the data.
And the one number that screams uptick louder than any other? This one. A massive 25% jump in closed home sales in just 1 month, from February to March. That is a huge leap, and it shows you just how fast things are moving right now. So to really get what's behind this competitive environment, you have to look at both sides of the coin, right? Let's start with the story of supply, as in how many homes are actually out there to buy. In March, the total number of homes for sale across the entire Orlando area was just a little over 12,000. So you got to remember, this is the entire pool of properties that all of those eager buyers are competing for. Now, you might hear 12,000 homes and think, hey, that sounds like a lot, but here's the kicker. That number is only up by a tiny, tiny fraction, just 0.3% from the month before. So inventory is not growing nearly fast enough to keep up with this new wave of buyers. You know, to really understand that balance or imbalance between supply and demand, experts use this fantastic metric called months of supply. It's a simple idea, but it's super powerful for gauging a market's health. And this number, this illustrates the situation perfectly. At the current pace of sales, it would take just over 5 months to sell every single home on the market. Now, a totally balanced market is considered to be around 6 months of supply. So what does this tell us? We are still leaning firmly into a seller's market. Okay, let's flip the script and look at the other side of the story, buyer demand, and spoiler alert, it is absolutely surging. This is the engine that's driving that 25% jump we saw earlier. So the first domino to fall is new listings. We saw an almost 9% increase in people putting their homes up for sale in March. You know, that's that seasonal spring boost we pretty much expect. And wow, did buyers respond. The number of homes going under contract, that means a buyer and seller shook hands on a deal, it jumped by 13%. Think about that for a second. That's happening way faster than new homes are even being listed. And all of that action culminates in the big one we started with. Those new contracts turned into a 25% explosion in closed sales. This whole sequence just shows a market that is rapidly picking up speed. So this is like economics 101, right? You have way more buyers actively competing for a supply of homes that's staying pretty tight. The natural question is, what is all that competition doing to prices? Well, the median home price for March in the Orlando area landed at exactly $385,000. But, you know, a number on its own doesn't really tell you the whole story. See, when we compare it to just the month before, we see a $10,000 jump. That's a 2.7% climb in a single month. This is proof that all that increased competition is already starting to push prices up in the short term. But, and this is a really important but, if we zoom out for a second and compare today's price to what it was a year ago in March of 2025, well, the picture changes completely. Prices have been incredibly stable, down just 0.1%. So all this recent heat hasn't translated into major year-over-year price gains, yet. Okay, so we've just thrown a whole lot of numbers and charts at you. The most important thing is figuring out how to put all these pieces together. Like, what does this all mean for you if you're actually thinking about buying or selling in Orlando right now? Let's break it down. The spring market is heating up, and it's happening fast. Yes, more homes are getting listed, but buyers are flooding the market even faster. That's why we're seeing prices climb from 1 month to the next. But here's the real twist. Those prices are still basically flat compared to last year. It all adds up to that dynamic and competitive environment we talked about at the beginning. For buyers, that means you have to be ready to act fast. And for sellers, well, you can probably expect some very interesting days ahead, maybe even with multiple offers. And all of this leaves us with one big provocative question, doesn't it? You have this intense rising competition pushing prices up right now. But from a bigger picture perspective, prices haven't completely run away. So the question for you is, does this mix create a unique window of opportunity? Is this the moment to make your move?